Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Friday Night Magic on the channel. My name is Robin, and we are Haney's Gaming, and today we are going to be playing a very basic mono blue control Talrand deck. And I'm doing this deck guide because I got a couple requests from people to do some more control themed decks. And looking at my past videos, I noticed that I haven't done any like a mono blue style deck yet. So this is the deck that we're going to play today, and I think this is going to be pretty cool. It's very basic, pretty simple. It resolves around Talrand, which as I go through the deck list, I'm going to show you guys what I mean by that. But it's pretty simple, and let's get into it and see what this deck is about. So obviously with control, there's going to be a lot of spells and different things like that. This deck is actually made by a friend of mine, so we're going to give a little bit of credit to Adam from Secret Peters, which is a guy I play with. I'll put a link to his channel in this video if you guys want. It's an old channel we used to do together where we used to do a bunch of different videos. We also did a bunch of magic videos and stuff like that. If you guys want to check it out, you guys can check it out, but I'll put a link to that, but credit goes to him. He made this deck, not me. So as we go through this deck, just keep that in mind. I changed a couple things here and there, but again, most of it was made by him. But if I was to remake a deck, kind of like in this style, I would basically do the same thing with a couple spells here and there. And as we go through the deck guide, I'll give my suggestions of what I think you guys can take out, what you can put back in. So let's switch to blue here, just in case. And let's go. So the first card we have is Quicken. Pretty basic for 1 mana. The next sorcery spell you cast this turn can be cast with a flash. Draw a card. So basically for 1 mana, it replaces itself and it gives you the ability to turn any card you have into an instant. At first you probably look at it and it seems pretty mediocre, but it's actually pretty good because it allows you to play cards that you normally can't play on your opponent's turn. It actually works out really well, and especially in mono blue. For 1 mana, it replaces itself. You draw a card. It's a good card to keep. Plus, it stacks with Talrand, which is you'll see why every sorcery card we have, regardless of whether it's an instant. I mean, every sorcery card, every spell we have, whether it's a sorcery or an instant. Makes a big difference, and why we want to have as many spells as we can in this deck. So that one, we have two of this guy in here, pretty good. The next card we have is Vapor Snake. This is for 1 mana. It is an instant. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Controller loses 1 life. It's basically used just to control, to kind of push your opponent back if he's kind of being really aggressive, or to keep tempo. Like let's say he places a big creature down, so you want to kind of stall him a bit, or let's say he's just kind of trying to swarm you, and you just need to kind of, you know, hold him off just a little bit. The Vapor Snake works. It also does 1 damage to its opponent's life. It's not a big deal. I mean, it is relevant in this deck because it does kind of turn into an aggressive deck at some point, but it's mostly there just for that reason. Plus, it's an instant. The next card is Void Snare. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Basically the same thing as Vapor Snake. The big difference is that Vapor Snake only works on a creature, and Void Snare works on any non-land permanent. So that works for artifacts, enchantments, all that kind of stuff too. And that's why we have 2 of these in this deck, is because you never know. Maybe there's an artifact, an enchantment, or something, you know, that you want to get rid of that's on the field. The only downside of this card is that it is a sorcery, so you have to use it on your turn. But with Quicken, and if uses combination with Quicken, you can also use it on your opponent's turn. So it's a good card. It's just you pay attention to the fact that it is a sorcery and not an instant. Don't try to cast on your opponent's turn because you won't be able to. The next card is Voyager's End. Same reason we have this card in the deck as the other 2. It's used for tempo and control. Return target creature to its owner's hand and scry 1. Basically what that means is scry, whenever you have scry, it you look at the top card of your library, and you can either choose to keep that card on there or put it on the bottom. So it's kind of essentially like card draw in a way, but not really. Like you're kind of like sorting your deck. So let's say I have a lot of land. Oops, didn't mean to bump my mic there. But let's say I have a lot of land in my deck or in my hand, and I play this card and I see, oh, my next card in my library is another land. I can be like, okay, well, I don't need any more land, so I can just throw that on the bottom of my deck. It's not the best mechanic, and I wouldn't say it's better than card draw, but it's it's still like something that you should take use of if you're playing a control deck, because it does let you sort through your deck a little bit better, so it is useful. But we have 2 of those in there, again, for the control aspect. I included Think Twice in this deck just for the extra card draw, and the fact that it's an extra sorcery and you can cast it from your graveyard, so it does stack pretty well with Talrand, as I will show you pretty soon here. Basically, for 2 mana you draw a card, and for 3 mana you can use its flashback ability. So basically, essentially, the card is a 5 mana, draw 1 card, but you can cast it twice, so it counts as 2 sorceries, and you can use it as an instant, so you can use it on your opponent's turn. It's a good way to maximize your mana, and again, it scales with the Talrand, so that's why it's in there. It's a good card. I really do enjoy it. Nullify is for 2 mono blue islands, counter target creature or spell. Very good card. It's normally hard to play in a deck that's not like just blue, but we're playing a mono blue deck, so it's not an issue at all. Works really, really well. You'll see in this game that counter spells are really annoying and they work really good. The fact that it does counter just a creature is kind of annoying, but it's still good. Like, creatures or aurora spells, the only spells that thing won't counter is like instants and sorceries. So I mean, it's pretty good though, because we can deal with creatures, and we have 4 of those in there, so that basically will let us to counter the majority of things our opponents throw at us. Niblis of the Breath is for 3 mana. It is a flyer with the ability to, you may tap or untap target creature for one island. Great card, used for tempo, used to control. We just put 1 of them in there because you don't need, we already have a decent amount of control in the deck already. It's just used to, you know, throw down there, and let's say like just to kind of annoy our opponent, or you know, kind of, you know, piss them off or something like that, because it is a very annoying card and it does bait removal. So we just put 1 of them in there. We don't need too much. Dissolve for 3 mana is your basic counter spell, basically. The only difference is you can scry for 1. Again, it's basically like a cancel, but slightly better because of the scry mechanic. We have 3 of those in there. And the next card is the basic card, like the card that makes the deck, and basically is your win condition. This is Talrand Sky Summoner. For 4 mana, he is a legendary creature. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a 2/2 blue drake creature token with flying on the battlefield. So basically he's a token generator, and that's why we want a lot of sorcery cards in this deck, is to buff him up. And he is very, very important, so you kind of want to keep him alive at all costs. You usually don't want to play him on turn 4, and you usually don't want to play him if you have no way to protect him, because if he dies, there's only 2 in the deck, right? So like, if he dies, your win condition is definitely limited. So you want to keep him alive as much as you can. But if your opponent can't deal with him, or doesn't deal with him right away, he does get pretty insane, as you'll see with all the sorcery cards and whatnot. So it's a good card. 2/2 flyers are great because it also they're evasive and they're easy. They stack up pretty quickly. Like, they wear your opponent down pretty good. It's a good card. So we put 2 of those in there. Usually you don't run it if you're using like a dual colored or 3-color deck, but it works great in a mono blue deck. Next card we have is Aurora for 4 mana. Basically what it does is it comes into the battlefield. When it enters the battlefield, you may return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So that's basically just to help us get our sorcery or instant spells back. Let's say if we need more tempo control, or if we would like to have a counter spell, we can play him down and fetch that back. Usually you're grabbing the lower costing stuff, but you know, if the game goes into late game and like you're doing pretty good, and let's say it's like, oh well, maybe I'd like to have another counter spell, you can play him down, get your counter spell back, and just kind of really grasp and clutch the game at that point. It's a good card. Like, it stacks with pretty much everything. There's just so many sorceries, and it's great. We have 3 of those in there for now. You could probably adjust the counts on some of these cards here and there, but that's what we're running right now. Inspiration, again, for 4 mana. Target player draws 2 cards, just to help you draw your cards if you're getting mana flooded or something like that. Keep you flowing through your deck. It is an instant, so you can play it on your opponent's turn as well. 2 of those in there for now. Could be adjustable. Again, you could adjust it with Aurora Mancers or anything else in the deck. But it's a good card. I like it. Next card we have is Time Warp. Basically used as a, I guess it could be used as a win condition, because like if you're winning the game and then you just need that extra turn, you can play this card down. and I believe there's only one in the game, so you can only have one in your deck, and it catches people by surprise because a lot of people don't play the card, I find, in this game. So and it stacks well with the Talrand, because sometimes you just need that extra little bit of damage to win, because you have all those tokens to swing in, so it works pretty good to play that. Actually, before I think we missed this card, by the way, so we'll go through this. The Binding of Thassa. Yeah, I don't know why we missed that, but we did. Basically what it is it's again, you mostly play it in a mono blue. It's a legendary enchantment artifact. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. So yeah, it's pretty good. It works, it stacks really well with the drakes, since they're flyers and they usually get in for their damage. You can drop this guy down and you draw pretty cards pretty quickly. And it's also got a pretty cool ability for 2 mana, and it taps creatures your opponents control attack this turn to Fable. So it's really nice to get rid of those little, you know, like if your opponent has a creature that you want to remove but you can't remove it directly, you can kind of force him to attack and, you know, make favorable trades on your part with the card. So we have 2 of those in the deck right now. It's a good draw mechanic, and it kind of is removal in a sense too. Switcheroo for 5 mana. Exchange control of 2 target creatures. Good card because you can swap it with one of your lower tokens, or like anything really you have in the field. If your opponent plays something big like a Baneslayer or something like that, you can be like, hey, you know what, I want that Baneslayer, you can have my crappy token or something like that. It seems not that good because it's exchange control of 2 target creatures, so you're kind of giving your opponent something, but usually what you're exchanging, it makes it worthwhile in the long run. Obviously you'd want to have like a mind control or something, but the game doesn't offer them, so Switcheroo is going to have to do for now, and it works pretty good for the most part. So we have 2 of those. The next card we have is Dramatic Visions. Basically what this card is, it's an added counterspell. As you see, this deck is pretty heavy on counterspells, has quite a bit. And it also has basic land cycling, so if you're playing and you need your land, you can pay 2 mana and you can cycle it for a land. Pretty good. I don't think the land cycle counts as a sorcery spell, so keep that in mind. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I don't think it does. Maybe we'll find out when we play a game, as we will play a couple games after I do this deck list. But yeah, it works as a counter spell for 5 mana, and it can also give you land. It's a good card. It's a great card. We have 2 of those in there. 1 Royal Elemental for 6 mana, flying, a 3/2 flyer, so it's not that beefy, but it does have a pretty good landfall ability. Whenever a land enters the battlefield in your control, you may gain control of target creature for as long as you control Royal Elemental. This is another guy you want to try and keep alive if possible. It's good to play him on turn, what is he, 6 mana, so you want to play him on turn 7, so that you can drop the card down, then drop the mana down, and maybe protect it with a Vapor Snag or something. It's a pretty good card. It's a little weak, so like you don't want to rely on it too much, but sometimes it just helps you get that what you need to win. The Sphinx Bone Wand is also a win condition in the deck. It's a pretty high casting card, so it's made for the late game. As you notice, this deck is pretty late game. The matches you play with this deck are going to be pretty long, so we might not be able to fit too many in this video, maybe 1 or 2, depends how they go. But whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may put a charge counter on Sphinx Bone Wand. If you do, Sphinx Bone Wand deals damage equal to the number of charge counters on it to target creature or player. So it seems slow, and it is slow, but it can stack pretty quickly because every counter you get, it's hard to explain, but like let's say it's got no counters and I cast a spell, it gets 1 counter, so then I can choose to do 1 damage. The next spell I cast, it gets 2 counters, and then I can use 2 damage to a creature or player, and then the next one 3 damage. So it stacks up pretty good to the point where like it's doing like 5, 6, 7 damage, like just consistently. The only thing I don't like about this is I've noticed a lot of players have been playing a lot of more artifact heavy removal decks since the latest expansion, so I have noticed it getting removed a couple times, which is kind of a pain, but what are you going to do? It's still a good card. And for our land count, we have 24 lands. Because we have so much cycling and card draw, we need the land, but we don't want to have too much land, so 24 is the minimum we have. And that's my mono blue control deck, so we're going to grab it there and save and quit here. I don't think I changed anything, but we're gonna hop into a match and play the deck. Let's see if we can join a game. Usually try and join a game first. A little bit easier. So we're just gonna keep it pretty basic this week. Nothing too fancy. If there's decks you guys want me to see me play, let me know. Again, comments, message me on YouTube, whatever. Let me know what you guys want me to see. And let's look at the starting hand. So we have, this is not a good hand for a couple of reasons. Number one, we have no mana. Number two, we have nothing we can cast early, really. So we're gonna draw a new card. Draw a new hand here. Ugh, again, with the 1 mana. So we're forced to draw again. Ugh, this is not great either, but I don't want to mulligan it down to 5 cards. We're gonna keep this hand. Not a good hand, but it all depends on when we draw. But it's not ideal, that's for sure. Tormented Hero, okay. So he's basically for 1 mana, a 2/1 with a heroic ability. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Tormented Hero, each opponent loses 1 life. You gain 1 life. Okay, so that's nothing too scary or anything right now. But because we are a slower deck, he's gonna be able to swing in and whatnot. So that's not good in a way. But we just have our one land drop, so we'll play that. We do have Traumatic Visions though if we need the land or the counter spell later on. So. And we do have Nullify, so we should be okay so far. Looks like he's going to swing it for 2 damage and pass the turn. That's good for us. And we got another counter spell, so that's good. So we're sitting pretty good at this point, it looks like it. If he plays a creature, we're probably going to counter it regardless of what it is. And if he doesn't, we'll probably cycle Traumatic Visions for an extra land, because I want to make sure I get that 4th land count. And I want to be able to play my Dissolve next turn when I have 3 mana. So. Okay, we're going to stop it here and we're going to cycle this out for a land. Always make sure you play on your opponent's turn just in case. We'll pass the turn here. We either play Dissolve or Nullify. I probably want to play Dissolve, but we might drop down Nullify. Well, it depends on what he plays, right? We're a reactive deck, so we're waiting on. We really basically wait on what he does and we react to whatever he does until we get to the point where we can kind of like stabilize and get our strategy going too. Alright, so we're stuck at 4 lands, which isn't the best, but we're not going to play Talrand yet until we can defend it in some way. Looks like he's just going to keep swinging in. It's a little bit annoying, but I mean, that for that 1 mana card, 2/1 has done 8 damage so far. That's pretty good value from that 1 card he's got. Alright, so we got a land. That's good. The question is, what do we do from here? I think we're just going to pass the turn. We'll still wait. The 2 damage isn't threatening at all. Oh, we're gonna stop that timer. Want to play Nullify, but also want to play Dissolve, because I want to see what the next card I have in my library is, and it's a land. Do I want to keep a land? Yeah, I think I do, because I want to keep ramping up here. He's got 3 lands, so he's got nothing. We still have Nullify if he does play a creature. We do have the Royal Elemental too, as well. A lower casting spell like Vapor Snake or something would be nice too, just so we can kind of protect the Talrand. But we'll throw that down. So we got 6 mana now. We can play the Royal Elemental. We're not going to drop it down yet until we get the mana. I think we're just going to play the Bident and see what my opponent does for now. Just want to get that card out. And if we can get a land, we'll play the Royal Elemental. Or if we get a low cost spell, we'll just play Talrand. We are getting pretty low on life though, which is not that good. A little bit off to a slower start. But okay, so he's gonna pass the turn. Okay. Do we play Think twice after we play Talrand? Or do we see, this is a tough spot in the deck. We do have the Bident, so we, you know, I think we're gonna play Talrand anyways. You might have some removal, you might not. You might anticipate that we do have a way to protect our Talrand though. There's that too. But he's got to be careful because if he lets us attack, we'd get to do damage, so. I think I'm going to take it. We are getting pretty low, but 6 is okay, I think, for the time being. Vicious Hunger. Okay. So yeah, that does remove the Talrand. So unfortunately we're going to have to sacrifice a Talrand, but we will get the card draw from it. I mean the Drake from it at least. And yeah, Void Snare, see, that would have been good to have last turn. But is what it is. I think we're almost at the point where we can stabilize here. Ooh. Okay, we're going to swing in with our Drake. All we got to do at this point is basically hold off our opponent, and we should be okay. We get a land, that'd be really nice. Oh, another Talrand. How about that? Okay, well, we're just gonna drop, I think we're gonna drop Talrand down. Ooh, that one land would have been really nice though. Yeah, I think we're gonna drop Talrand down. And we're just gonna Void Snare now just to get my token. Because we can't use, I would ideally like to wait to his turn to use this, but I'll just use it right now. Just to get my tokens so we can keep swinging in and drawing cards. Because the Void Snare would have been nice to keep with the Sphinx Bone Wand, but not much we can do. We're kind of like pushed against the wall and we want to just make sure that I don't die. Hopefully. But he's played a total of 2 cards, so kind of interesting. Ooh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's not a good card to have. We don't want him to, we don't want to see that card. But we do have Time Warp, which we might be forced to use, unfortunately. Yeah, because I'm just worried that if all he has to do is gain 6 life and you... Ooh, we do have a counterspell though. Okay, that kind of changed things a lot. We'll swing in with everybody. The counterspell just really changed everything. So all we have to do is counter his life gain and we win. Essentially. We can set up next turn for the Time Warp. Yes. I want to draw all the cards. Give me them all. Might as well draw 8. We gotta play land anyways. At this point, we're just going to counter whatever he plays, and hopefully we can survive with it. Vapor. See, the Vapor Stink would have been nice to get rid of the Sanguine Bond. We're gonna nullify that. Because that thing stacks with the bond, so get rid of that for the time being. We still have the Dissolve to play. If we really need to. Well, we're only going to play Dissolve if we absolutely have to. If we don't, then we're not going to play it. Because if we can stay like this turn, I'm pretty sure we lock the game down, because with the Time Warp. 2, 4, 6, 8, 8, 16, yep. 2 turns is 16 points of damage. Put down 3 mana here, play Time Warp. Get our extra token, and I think we just won. I believe. 2, 4, 6, 8. Do I want to draw cards? We might as well if we can get a counterspell or something. Just throw away whatever we have that's cast too high. Yes. Throw away our mana here. There, now we have 2 counterspells. I think we just locked it in. So that's how you play the mono blue basically. We had a bit of a rough start, but we came through at the end and won. I think we're gonna hop in and try another one out here. It's a pretty good deck. Control is pretty hard to play against. It's very annoying to play against, and the mono blue has always been pretty strong. Players quit the game. Ooh. Okay. Oh, join these sessions that take forever to join. Yeah, maybe we'll make our own match and wait for somebody to hop in that way. Might be a little bit faster. There was a bunch of people playing and now nobody wants to play. I find sometimes I either have a really hard time finding people to play, or it's really fast to get people, no problem. Depends on what time I play too. Give it a little bit more time. If somebody wants to hop in. Doesn't look like anybody is coming though. Maybe we'll try and join a game. Did not join session. Let's try Margot. There we go. Okay, so this right here is a really good hand because we have decent mana count, all spells we can play early on. Basically almost a perfect curve. 1, 2, 3. Wow, that could be considered 3. 4 curve, which is pretty cool. So, really nice hand so far. But lots counter spell, card draw, And yeah, stuff to do early on, which is always important. So we're going to drop our one land here. Drop our second land. We're going to wait. If he plays a creature, we might counter it. If not, we'll play Think Twice. Depends on what creature it is. Okay, we can't counter that regardless. So we're just going to play Think Twice here, draw a card. Ooh, a Sphinx Bone Wand. That's not what we want right now, at the moment. Switcheroo isn't what we want either. So, good starting hand, a little rough now. So we can either choose to Vapor Snake one of these guys or draw a card. We kind of really need that land count. So yeah, we're gonna have to draw. Hopefully we get it. Well, it cycles, but we're not in a good spot right now. Opponent's rushing us down, and we got ding it. It's not good either. Well, we'll see. That might help a bit. Throw away Switcheroo. It's kind of irrelevant right now, at the moment. So we're gonna want to cycle the Traumatic Visions out. That us missing that land count last turn really hurt us. Yeah, I think we're gonna Vapor Snag one of these guys just to keep the pressure off a bit. I would like the Voyager's End, but we need to get that 4-drop land. So we're pause it here. Cycle that guy out for land. And another Dramatic Visions, which, I mean, it helps in a sense. Yeah, you know what, that's not bad, because we can cycle it out for land. And then we can Voyager's End one of these guys. Looks like he's trying to rush us down pretty quickly here. And we can't cancel any of that, which is unfortunate. He's playing a bit of a goblin heavy deck. Yeah, let's cancel that. You might try to unearth it. We're just gonna have to let it go because if we put it back in his hand, then he can cast it twice again, and we don't want that. So we're gonna cycle this land if it'll let us. No, stop. Peace. But I think we might be done. We don't get a Vapor Snag or something? Counter spell kind of works, kind of not really. That one hiccup early on really messed us up. Because we probably could have changed the whole game if we would have got a couple, if we would have been able to play Inspiration and stuff like that and sort through our deck a little bit earlier. We're gonna have to cancel that, right? And he just won. Good job. Good game, bud. Rushed us through. Little weenie goblin token deck. So obviously the aggressive matchup in this with this deck isn't going to be as good, especially when you don't. It's funny because we drew a really good starting hand, but then we just had nothing to play. Didn't draw into anything we need. It happens though. Maybe we should try and join a match again. Seems to work a little bit better that way. Oh, and our game just crashed. Alright, let's launch her back up here. Okay, magic. Crashing on me again. Okay, so let's hop into a game. A lot of people playing today. Still surprised about how many people play Duels of the Planeswalker. Okay. We do draw, so I kind of like this hand. A little bit high in the mana count, but at least it ensures that we get to play these cards. So I think we're going to keep it. We do have our win condition right here. And hopefully we'll play against a bit of a slower deck. Always helps. Since we do have in the control matchup, usually mono blue does perform better. Just because it does control the best. Essentially. Elixir of Immortality, alright. Vapor Snag, it's a good card to have. Looking pretty good for us right now. No counter spells, but we do have Talrand Vapor Snag. And this guy, Voyager's End, can still be used as a counter spell as well, if need be. We're going to drop our Nibelus of the Breath to get him down. For 3 mana, you might as well now, it's safe. And we can use his ability over the next couple turns just for 1 mana. And if he does play a creature that's really, really bad, we can just bounce it and then counter it when he tries to play it again. So we're looking pretty good at this point. Alright, Cultivate. So he looks like he's playing some kind of ramp deck. Maybe 5 color? What colors he gets? I think it's just... Is it 3 color or 5 color? I think he's playing 3 color, but... No, he's playing 4 color. Maybe 5. What color is not in there? I think he's playing 5, actually. Okay. Interesting. So we don't need the taps. We probably could attack with this guy right now. There's nothing we need to tap at this point. We'll just drop the land and hold off for a turn. Alright, the elves are not a big deal. Not worth countering. That wall is not a big deal either, necessarily. We could bounce it back to his hand, but we will get a card from it. Probably won't do that. Next turn I think is going to be a Talrand turn. Oh, make sure we drop that land first, just in case if you chose to remove it. Drop down Talrand. I think we're going to attack with the 2-1 because we're not going to block. There's nothing we can really want to tap. We're just swinging for 2. And we have the Vapor Snag in case if we need it. Another Elvis Visionary. So if he's playing a 5 color, there's probably going to be some big bombs dropping pretty soon. Wow, he's got a lot of defense there. We'll hold off on the Vapor Snake. Ooh. Quicken, that's a good guy to get. Okay, so now that we have our mana open, we can basically do whatever we want next turn. We're going to start pumping the board full of tokens pretty soon here. Since we're open up wide, we can cast a lot of spells next turn and counter most of it. We just got to be careful to make sure he doesn't do a board wipe. Kinda don't like that card. Yeah, let's counter that. Because that card is going to stop our flyers from getting through, so we're just going to get rid of that, and hopefully he doesn't wipe the board. If he does, it's not that big of a deal, because we can Vapor Snake or Talrand, but... Alright, so he's not going to play nothing. I think we're going to fetch our Nullify back again. I mean, we could have kept our mana open, but we might as well fetch it. We're putting the pressure on here. We won't counter anything he plays, like creature-wise, unless it's really big. Because I want to save... We got to save Talrand at all costs, if we can. Okay, so Cloud Shifting that is a sign that I think he has nothing. And he's attempting to draw something here. We can't counter that, so... He doesn't have a land? Okay, this is where we get really crazy here. We're gonna start rushing him down. And then we're going to Vapor Snake that guy. You get Voyager's End, okay. And how much time do we have here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I think we just won. With the Vapor Snake, if we fetch a Vapor Snake back. Yes, grab the Vapor Snake. Swing it with everybody. Then use the Vapor Snake to make him lose 1 life. I think we just won. Yeah, we got it. So this matchup was much, like stylistic wise, this is much easier for us and better for our deck. But we're at 42, we could play another match. Do we want to play another match? Yeah, you know what, we'll play another match. I want to show you guys this deck a little bit more. So we'll hop in our last match here. Hopefully this one's not too long. I like this hand. Gives us stuff to play early on. We have Voromancer the fetch. We have the Bident if we need to. I think this is an okay hand. It looks like we're playing gets another control deck, which is nice. Ooh, 2 Bidents. Ooh, that's not great because the one thing you gotta watch with the Bidents is their legendary enchantment artifacts. So any kind of legendary card, you can only have 1 copy on the field. So it's kind of unless he removes our Bident, it's almost a dead card, so to speak. So it's something to just keep in mind when you're playing this deck. Ooh, okay. We are playing against a control deck. Ooh, yay, we got our land drop. That was really good for us. So if he counters this, okay, you know what? That's not bad because it gives this one actual use in her hand. It's not a dead card, so I'm not too upset about that. Surprisingly, normally you would be upset, but we can either drop it down or Voyager's End. See, it's 4 mana, which is nice, but I kind of want to make sure I get a land drop next turn and cycle through our deck with card draw, so I'm not going to play the Bident. It would be nice, but we're not going to. I think we're going to let him draw a card. It's just 1 card. It's not that big of a deal. Alright, we're going to do some things here. We're going to play a thing twice to draw a card ourselves. And we might Voyager's End this guy. just to throw him back a turn. Put that in the bottom. We don't really want that right now at the moment. Do we want to play the bite it, or do we want to? It would bait out a counter spell. I have a feeling it's going to be a long game, so I'm probably going to use Think twice with the Roramancer though. But I can't use it. We're just going to pass the turn and use Think twice to draw a card next turn. I believe is what we're going to do. Okay, so he's going to draw a card. He's playing, is he playing white? I think he's playing, but he must be playing some kind of black in there at least. Just try to mill him is what we should do. Yeah, let's see what I want to see what he does if I nullify that. Okay, so he doesn't counter it. But he could still have a counter spell. Oh, he's tapping out though. Completely tapping out here. Oh, we're gonna pause it here so we can use our Think twice. Draw a card. A land. Okay, Inspiration is a good draw. We're just gonna play it now, just so he doesn't cancel it or do something goofy like that. Ooh. See, if we had extra mana, we could play Resolve. So far, the only thing either of us has managed to do is draw cards, really. Oh, he's got another Scroll Thief, okay. That's fine. Not too worried about that. I'm gonna play the Bite It now. Bait out any cancels he has. Alright, so he doesn't have one. We'll drop a land count. We do have the Dissolve for cancel if he plays something too crazy. I guess we're gonna have to let him draw a card though. The Sphinx Phone Wand will be really important in this matchup if we do get it, and if we are able to play it early on. Because that's going to really allow us to take control. But he might be playing a copy of it too. Be very surprised if he cancels that. Oh, there's the Sphinx Phone Wand right there. Okay, so God, we can play it right now, but I'm scared he has a counter. I don't want to lose that wand. You know what, let's play the Roramancer. Okay. Good. So that's good because that's gonna bait out his that's baiting out his counter spells. We still have a Think Twice we can play. Okay, cool. I think we're still fine because like the objective here is to get him to tap out if we can. Tap out completely. He might have artifact removal, but or enchantment removal, but still. I'm taking the guess he doesn't, and the Sphinx Phone Wand will be really important. So we play our card here. You want to dissolve, okay. 7, 8, 9. So we can drop this next turn and counter his counter spell. Because hopefully he taps out all his mana. And if we manage to do that, we should be sitting fairly pretty. So much card draw going on. We just need him to like tap out to some degree to where he can't play like 5 counter spells. And that would be great. He's gonna mill himself at this rate though. Okay, perfect. Oh, don't stop, stop! Oh my god, why would that not stop? Oh man. Wow, that's really shitty. Ah, crap. You know, that's really bad for me, because now... with that, you know what, that might have lost us the game right there. And I meant to play my land count before I you know what, I think I royally just screwed that up. Not only... yeah, we just lost. We totally just lost this game. So... yeah, don't ever do that. I totally messed that up. Number one, well, I mean, like, the game wouldn't let me pause it, so I couldn't counter his Talrand, and then I played the Sphinx without playing the mana to play Dissolve, so that we just lost the game, but yeah. Good game. We're just gonna let this go because there's nothing we can do at this point. Ah, it's so shitty though. I can't believe that happened. But anyways, I think that's the end of this this week's edition of Friday Night Magic. I think we could have won this game if we would have did that better, but oh well. Hope you guys like this video. If you guys are new to the channel, consider subscribing. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this deck, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Friday Night Magic. Well, we're not dead yet, so yeah. Let me guys know what you think of this deck. And unfortunately, I'm kind of upset that this is the way things ended, but it is what it is. But I'll see you guys next episode, and have a good one, guys.